Hey everyone, Paulie here from HardDrive Radio, and I'm having a great time hanging out today with Matt and Lou from the band Palisades. How you guys doing today?
Good, man. How are you?
I am good. I'm a little tired. I'm sure we all are.
Yeah, I'm very tired.
Long night last night.
It was a long night, but it was a damn fun night last night. We were hanging out at a PlayStation Theater. You guys are on the road with nothing more.
Yep.
The band is from the New Jersey area, so this is kind of a hometown show for you guys. How was the crowd?
Oh, I thought the crowd was awesome. We had so much energy, and it's weird being from Jersey because it's like the tri-state area. So like New York's a hometown show. Sometimes like Allentown, PA feels like a hometown show, and when we do play Jersey, Jersey is a hometown show. So
Yeah,
it's really cool.
It was definitely, for me, it was one of the coolest times we played New York because like you can just see the growth in our band and the long-term fans and the newer fans, and there was just so many people like singing the words, and like you can tell that like people were really there and excited to see us play. So
Definitely
awesome.
felt the energy.
Yeah,
Definitely
for sure.
Felt the energy.
I think you said you guys had a pit last night too, right?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because, like, I guess back in our Warp days, we'd have, like, some heavier breakdown stuff, and we used to have pits and everything. But now, like, we still play heavy music, but I don't expect them. So we saw one. I was like, oh, here we go.
Yeah, it was interesting. Like, we don't really see them too much anymore in this kind of demographic. But, you know, like, it was cool. It happened by itself. I didn't say nothing.
It was cool.
I always feel bad for those bands who are like, hey, come on, let's get something going, trying to like whip people up, and then nobody moves.
There
Like,
is no worse feeling when you're like, hey, what's up, guys? And everyone's like,
It happens a lot.
yeah, it happens a lot. You know, you got to win them over.
So
Not to you guys.
it's happened to us in the past before. Yeah, for sure.
I think every band's gone through that.
It's a rite of passage.
What's up, Cleveland? We're in New York. Oh, God.
Yeah, we're like, make some noise.
What was the most low energy crowd you guys ever played in front of?
Oh man, I think it might have been in Austria one time.
Yeah.
It was It
Oh, yeah.
was on the Silver Scene tour, and that tour was great. We were playing like 2,000 cap rooms.
First time in Europe.
Like first time in Europe. It's been amazing. Germany's a blast. We get to Austria, and I love Austria. I love all the fans. But the first time we played there, no one knew who we were. There was like maybe 100 to 200 people there, and they just stood there like this.
No, not only that, but
Even for Silverstein.
there was like the front of the crowd, right? And then there was a giant gap. And there were just people like eating and like at the bar and just like sitting at tables.
Yeah.
And like when there was like intermission between, not even like gap between a song, you could audibly hear people having a totally full conversation. And like almost like they want to be like, shut up, we're talking here. It's like, we're playing a show here.
Yeah.
Like, very, very strange, you know?
I've been to a couple of industry showcases like that where, you know, like bands are there and they're there to play in front of like record people and stations, and I'm always trying to like watch the bands.
Yeah.
And in between, you know, sets or in between songs, and I hear like all this conversation going on behind me. I'm like, shut up.
Oh, that's
Something's
really
happening.
that's
It's so rude.
That's
I don't
pretty
know
rude.
if you've seen this, but one of my favorite things on the internet was when John Mayer watched the head of, I think, Columbia was doing a showcase for them. For his birthday, he got to play a show, and John Mayer got to stand there with his arms crossed.
I've never seen that one.
Yeah,
That's
you gotta
funny.
look it up. It's cool.
That's awesome.
That's fantastic. Well, I mean, it seems like the tour is going really great for you guys so
Yeah.
far. You know, not your first time around. I think you guys are on your third album at this point.
It's actually our fourth
album.
Fourth album.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
No, you're fine.
But I mean, like you guys have been working towards this for a while, and you know it's got to be nice to be finally getting like some big time recognition because you guys have been working your asses off.
Yeah, it's been a really long process, but and we talk about this all the time. And in our opinion, you know, the grind that brought us here makes it so much more worth it. So much worth it that like, you know, sometimes when bands or artists get like really popular really quickly, you know, it's not as appreciative of it, or like it just, you know, it pops too quick. And the everything that brought us from here, like grinded us and made us into the people that we are today, and the band we are today, and the musicians we are today, molded our music taste. And I think we can appreciate our fans so much more and love them so much as like our family, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, I mean, some people are from day one. Like when we did our EP in 2011.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because, you know, we progressed too because, you know, we lost some members, we gained Brandon, and you know, you change over time even as people, not even just as artists. You just change, and our progression has always been basically the same in a sense. Like we changed a lot, but like we always had the same core value of what we want Palisades to be, what we want our music to be, and we're stoked for everyone that stayed along for the ride. And there's also millions of people that probably never even heard of us that we're excited to reach and, you know, hopefully bring into our family.
We're working on changing that. I'm Paulie with Hard Drive Radio, sitting down with Matt and Lou from Palisades. I kind of want to dive into a little bit of the history of the band for people who are kind of new to you guys and you know, just getting on board this ship. So Matt, let's kick it off. Tell us a little bit about how this whole project started.
So basically, going back, long story short, I went to high school with Xavier, and he was in a band with Aaron. And eventually, I went into that band, and we progressed over that time with certain people. And we got to a point where we were touring and we were regional, and then our singer decided to quit. And out of that touring time, we met Lou in Florida, and he just left his band, and he was like, "Yo, you should check out my band." And I'm like, "Okay." And usually, like, you're gonna listen to some MySpace singer and go, "Oh, what is this?" And I actually thought he was really good. I was like, "Oh, your band's really good. Why aren't you touring?" And he's like, "Well, you know, whatever." So I hit him up, and I was like, "Hey, man, we're doing an EP in Florida. You know, our singer quit. Would you be interested?" He did a demo. It was actually called Immortal, and that was our first demo we did, and it just worked. And eventually we kept going. We got signed to Rise Records through that. We made an album, and on that first album cycle, Brandon Elgar was in a New Jersey band at this time, and he did merch for us. So as years went by, and I found him through like a YouTube cover thing, our old bass player who also sang quit the band, so we needed somebody. And right when I was looking through Facebook, Brandon's Justin Bieber cover pops up, and I'm like, "Oh, he still sounds really good." And I was like, "Yo, you play guitar?" And he's like, "Yeah, I could play guitar." I was like, "All right, you're in our band." And that's basically been the start of it. And that started in 2016. We created our self-titled album, and since then, that's what Palisades is.
That was honestly the best description and the shortest, most simplified version of the history of the band I've ever heard.
What's up? I'm here all day.
That was super concise. I like it.
That was really good.
Accurate timeline.
If Aaron was here, we'd have been here for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Lou, tell me about like that first time playing with these guys. You know, they're looking for a new singer. They bring you on board. You're going to play with them. You know, what was the atmosphere like?
Well, originally it was really weird because I originally, when Matt asked me, I said no. And because at that point I was like, you know, should I go to school, blah, blah, blah. And then my mom actually told me, she's like, you know, you only get one chance at life, and, you know, just do it. Go fly out there and do it. So I did it, and I remember, you know, I was recording demos, and I was living in Florida at the time, recording demos, sending them back and forth. And when we played our first show, wasn't it like the Meat Locker? No, it was in Virginia, right?
The first show we ever played was a showcase,
right,
for the management group that we were with at the time. And that's what basically happened was we had a showcase before for a record label and them, and our old singer quit that night, like the night before we were going. And we were like, "Oh, man." So we played without a singer. We had our other bass player who's not in the band anymore step up, and no one showed up except for the guy working the show, and he's part of that management group. And he's like, "You know what? You guys were actually really good for not having a singer. You know, that was pretty good." He's like, "You get a singer, we could probably do this." So
I did the second audition.
Yeah, and our second time ever playing together, besides rehearsing, whatever, we made an EP. He put his parts in Florida. We did it together, and we did it for them, and they're like, "Yeah, we're sold. It's cool."
I remember when I first came to practice, like I was just sending demos back and forth, right? And when I first came, because I also decided to move there at the same time, I remember the first practice we had, and I was really sick. Oh my God. Like, I had no voice, and I'm trying to show them that I'm going to be their new singer. And I remember at the time, some of the guys were like, "Oh God, what do we do?" And I was like, "No, I promise, I'm just sick."
I'm pretty sure when he went upstairs to go to the bathroom, we looked around the room, we looked at each other and said, "Well, we're already pretty deep in this. We already bought a plane ticket."
But obviously it all worked out, so, you know what I mean? Yeah.
You know, it's funny you talk about your mom like encouraging you to go for it, and I love to ask, you know, especially younger musicians, like, do your parents ever pull you aside and just be like, what's your plan B? You know?
Yeah, I mean, so
Everyone's
like
that.
I had to like, since I was like 18 years old, I really wanted to do this with the guys, and I had to put out a detailed plan of like expectations, what was probably going to happen, and I did it all the way from like 2010 to 2015, and it's crazy, but it actually kind of worked in that whole timeline. Everything kind of went that way, and I didn't have any plan after that. But as soon as that ended, that's when the other guys left and Brandon came in, and we kind of switched things up, so it was like a new chapter of that. But yeah, I had to be really detailed, like, "Hey, listen, I know I'm not going to college, I know this is risky, but this is our dream and this is how it's gonna happen." And it pretty much followed that whole way through, so that was pretty cool.
Matt's pretty good at predicting like the future, that kind of stuff. But I'd like to say, just on record, like, we are all very, very, very fortunate to have loving families that like really support us. Of course, their parents, and you know, like my dad initially was, you know, he's a cop, and he's like very like, you know, gotta go to school, like whatever. And then, but now he's like one of our biggest fans, and you know, everybody, like all the cops, like come out to the shows, and you know, whatever. And I think as a parent, you just want the best for your kid, so you want to just make sure that, hey, you know, this is gonna be a long road, and you know, God bless all of our families because they've endured that long road with us the whole time. So it's been great. Thanks, Mom and Dad. Yeah, literally. Thank you.
I'm Paulie with HardDrive Radio, sitting down with Matt and Lou from the band Palisades. We're having a great time today. You guys came in and played some beautiful songs for us, semi-acoustic. It was really cool to see the rig that you guys brought in. But I want to talk about, you know, first the single that you guys got out now, which is "Erase the Pain." Tell me a little bit about what went into creating that song when you guys were writing it.
Oh man, so Xavier started making some production, and he made the sample that you hear in the beginning, and I was like, oh man, this is gonna be a big chorus. I was like, we're gonna do it. And basically, like, we were creating it, and it was a weird time in my life where like everything was going really well, but at the same time I was feeling pretty empty about a lot of things. Like, I don't know, and the words that came to my head while we were creating it was just like, I can't feel anything right now. And like, Lou came in there with me, and we
built off of that.
Yeah, we hammered it out together, and that was the real first demo that we made for this entire album, and that kind of set the tone, even going into the whole process of like when we made Fade to Black and Erase the Pain. Like, that was like the whole, we kind of had the whole idea from the beginning.
Yeah, like Matt said, that was literally the first demo, and it's crazy because it really didn't change much. Like, from start to finish, you know, usually when you make a song, you go to a producer and everything, it kind of changed a lot. Like, it really, that was what set the tone for the whole album. And I remember when Matt told me that line, everyone at the time was going through something like really harsh. And I think where it usually happens that way, because when you're going to write an album, you know, you do like a lot of touring beforehand, and you have a lot of off time, and you have a lot of time to like reflect your own mind and stuff. And for me, like I had just gotten diagnosed with like severe anxiety, and that was really weird for me to deal with. I've never had that. My sister has it, and I always thought that, like, you know, like I kind of understood it, but you don't understand it until it happens to you. So I was going through that at the same time, and, you know, everybody was kind of just going through this really low point, and that was the basis behind that. I think that's why so many people like feel so emotionally connected with that song, and not only that, but just the whole album in general.
It's funny you bring that up, because I feel like, you know, we're making a lot of progress about talking about things like that. You know, a couple of years ago, I didn't know anything about it. And then, like, I have a very close friend who has anxiety as well. And, you know, she has good days and she has bad days. Totally. But, like, you know, as a guy whose job it is to get up in front of thousands of people all the time, like, how do you manage it?
It's so it's newer for me. I never had it, you know, kind of, but when I was talking to the doctor, you know, it says it can happen randomly at any point. And there was one show in Brooklyn when we played, actually, was that with Nothing More?
No, that was our headline.
Oh, our headlining show, right. Yeah, it was our headlining show at Knitting Factory in Brooklyn. And I remember right before we went on stage, I had a huge panic attack. And that was always my fear. Like, you know, having a panic attack off stage is really bad, but at least you don't have to do anything. You don't have to perform. You don't have to, like, it's okay. And like, in medicine, I take takes like an hour to kick in, but it happened right before I went on stage. I remember being on stage thinking, like, I'm gonna die. Like, I can't breathe. I was just trying so hard just to get through the set for like the guys and for the fans. You know what I mean? Like, fans deserve a show, and they deserve to have a great experience. But, you know, luckily our fan base is so amazing. You know, they were really, really supportive of the whole show, and, you know, a bunch of fans came and talked to me afterwards, and like, hey, like, are you okay? And that's the kind of community that I feel like we've built with the whole band, you know, like with our fan base, and really loving and supporting community that deals with these kind of things all the time. You know what I mean? And so just knowing that we can be there for each other like that is awesome.
Thanks for sharing that story. I mean, yeah. I know it's, you know, it can't always be easy to deal with, and it can't be easy to talk about it. But
yeah,
one of the things that I love about this gig is, you know, how many different kinds of people I get to talk to, and if they're dealing with an issue that, you know, a listener or someone else watching can relate to, then just being able to tell that story can help them out. So thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what we're here for. So
yeah, that's why we do it.
Yeah, man. Getting back to Erase the Pain, you know, as one of the first demos you guys built for this album, at what point did you know like this was going to be the title for the album as well, or did that come later?
I had the idea kind of from the beginning. I was spitting it around to the guys like, yeah, what if it is Erase the Pain? Everyone's like, well, let's wait. Like, no one was 100% sold on it. But what we were doing was, right when the album got done, we had to get all the artwork stuff, and we were brainstorming. It took a couple weeks to kind of even come up with the idea of, like, you know, this album, what it meant to us, like what everything. And what kind of came out was we came up with the concept of the Ouroboros and it shattering and breaking away from itself as our growth, as like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks sick too.
Yeah, and like the cycle of what the Ouroboros means, like going through that pain of and repeating and starting over again.
It was like our whole band cycle from inception, basically, of like everything you went through, and what we learned was all the hardships made us stronger. Yeah. And that's like the breaking away part, is sometimes you gotta kill off like the dead inside you and know that like life was hard in that moment, but you got through it and now you became stronger through it. And that's what a lot of the songs kind of mean through. Like we're singing sad, depressing songs that we went through, but it's almost like a triumphant, like we made it through it though, and now you can make it through as well.
Yeah, I think that's why Shed My Skin is the perfect ender to the album. So originally I wanted to name the album Shed My Skin because I felt like that was like appropriate, and that was one of the names we were literally throwing around at first for the beginning of it. And we had to make a 60-page mood board complete with everything that we felt, the reasoning behind the song. And the cool thing about it is when we were recording the album, we were just writing just from our pain, from our experiences, everything we were going through. And then at the end of it, we kind of sat back. We're like, oh, this is sort of a concept-y album. Like, and I think the reason, what really nailed it for me was, you listen to the whole album all the way through, and from the beginning of the album is just all this hardship, and every single situation is different, and enduring it, and all this bad stuff, bad. And the last song on the album is Shed My Skin. And the reason why I wanted that to be the last song on the album is because I wanted it to be like, okay, this you can go through all this pain and erase the pain by shedding your skin and starting over again. Your past doesn't have to be your prison. Just like the Ouroboros, you can break free and start again, the cycle. You know what I mean? And I remember when we were looking for the imagery of it, we literally had no idea this time like what we wanted to do. And we originally we had an idea of a snake. We liked this one image of the snake. And then me and Matt were sitting there forever in Aaron's basement.
Yeah, and then we came across a couple Ouroboroses and we were thinking about it. And then we're like, you know, like another thing too is like we really were like, but we got to show like the regrowth, like, and everything. And that's when we had the idea, what if it shattered? And we worked with an amazing artist, Casey, that you know helped us create it together, and I think it came out amazing. Really proud of it. Really symbolizes everything that we worked on.
And if you look at on the image, like the snake head is so strong and powerful, and like your past is fading away, and you're just restarting, and that's the basis of the whole album.
That's what I love about music is, you know, there's so much great art that goes into it, not only songwriting but visual as well, and makes for some killer freaking merch.
Yeah. And it's cool. This is I feel like this is one of the first album arts that we've gotten where so many people are like, whoa, like, I love this.
I just
feel
feel
really
like
cool in a backdrop.
Yeah, I feel like it just really resonates with people. It's striking, and anyone could look at it and feel a certain way. And that's the whole part of music too. Like, just because we say something and we mean a literal thing, doesn't mean you can't take that and put that into your life and let it help you in whatever instance that is.
Totally, absolutely.
A little more on visuals for the band. You guys actually just put out a video a couple weeks ago for Erase the Pain as well. Tell me about your experiences filming that.
It's a long day. Like but it was awesome. Like, we actually shot War and Erase the Pain in the same day. They both work together. So War is the beginning of the story, and Erase the Pain is the aftermath of it. And it was awesome. I really loved working with the director that we worked with. Loved working with the crew. And you know, basically, when you make a music video, the song is on loop, and you just have to play as hard as you can, and you don't realize that it's a 12-hour day. Like, one song could take you 8 hours or something. So for us, we had to get it done. Each song had to be done in 6 hours. So it's pretty strenuous, but it's really cool. Like, before it's all done and everything, like, you get to look in the camera and you're seeing stuff and you're like, whoa, this looks awesome. And you know, we really wanted to make sure the storyline could fit well, and they got that done so well. And
yeah, they filmed the whole storyboard stuff before we got there on a different day, which was cool because like we got to go in there and like watch that stuff, and we're like, oh, because you know, we were only hearing about what it was, and then just to see it come to life and just like the coloring on it and like just the quality, they filmed half of it with a Super 8 too, like nice, so it was really, really cool, and it came together really well. So
did you guys have an idea for the story that you wanted to work with, or was that the treatment that you guys were like,
it was a little bit of both. They sent us over a treatment and everything, and you know, we looked it over, we had some notes and everything, but we really felt like the director really had a grasp on what like the mood of it, everything was.
He had a vision for it. And we loved it.
We really did enjoy his vision. We were like, all right, let's roll with it, but we want this and that, and he was really cool. We hammered it out together. It's
kind of got like a cool Clockwork Orange kind of feel to it. You know what I mean? Same time being like modern, and it was just really cool.
I'm Paulie, sitting down with Matt and Lou from the band Palisades. And before we wrap up here, is there anything you'd like to say to your fans who I know are going to be watching this video?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for all the support over the years. And even if you just came in now, just, you know, without you guys, we wouldn't be able to do this. And it goes hand in hand. So, without any of your support, like, we wouldn't be here. So thank you for everything. We can't wait to see you. We're going to be on tour for a while, so hope you come out to a show.
We will be on tour forever. Thank you guys so much, and we love you.